Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat, and it's a privilege for me to be able to speak here. Actually, nung inimbita ko, when I told my wife that I'll be speaking here, in Jesus' reign, she got so excited. Pasensya kayo. Galing ako sa taas. She got so excited, so she came along with me. And to be honest with you, I only got to know the topic, pero hindi kasalanan nila Jobert yun. I got to know the topic three days ago. And of course, nakaka-excite. Yun nga lang ang broad niya. I'm supposed to speak about yung statuses, tips for single people. Ilan ba single dito? Marami? Okay. How many are in the complicated? Kung merong aamin yan. Kasi yung sinabi niya, single, complicated, and yung mga married. Teka, ano nangyari dun sa iba? Nung sinabi ko single, nagtaas ng kamay dito. Dito may konti. Pagdating ng complicated, no, walang nagtaas ng kamay. Pero pagdating ng married, wala rin. In a relationship. Okay, when I say single, kasama din yung in a relationship. Okay? How many are single? How many are married? So, sobrang konti. Okay, and I would have to admit to you guys, so I've been doing this talk for 3 days, and I would have to give you something that's incomplete. Hindi ko siya natapos, but it was intentional. Alam niyo kung bakit? Every time I would open my PowerPoint, oops, nawala ulit. Ako na lang magko-control. I'm good. Every time I would open my PowerPoint and check on, ano bang gustong ipasabi sa akin ng Panginoon. It was just like adding a whole sermon once again. And so, kaninang umaga, when I opened it up, sabi ko, okay na to. This is it. I'm not gonna finish it intentionally. And kung okay lang sa inyo, I'm just going to allow the Holy Spirit to speak whatever He wants to speak here on this platform. Diba? So, gusto ko kayo munang i-lead dito sa isang verse where it all began. And ang sinasabi dito, first line on the first book, on the first chapter of the Bible says, pakibasa nga natin. Ayan, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And dito, pinapakita sa atin, the Bible paves way for the ultimate creation process. And then after that, sabi dyan sa verse 2, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water. And alam mo ba, even if you try to Google it, or dun sa Bible school, I learned there that whenever the word water is mentioned in the Bible, either, isa sa mga ibig sabihin nito ay, siya kakalam. It's chaos. Kaguluhan. And dito, sinabi dito, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Nasa taas yung Spirit of God. Ibig sabihin niya, pinapakita sa atin that you know what, whatever situation you're in, God is above. Amen? And then, verse 3, hang on with me, I'm going to point at something. Verse 3 says, and God said, let there be light. And there was light. So, anong create dito ni God on the first? He created liwanag, di ba? Ginawa siya ng liwanag. Pero, dito makikita natin, sabi dun sa verse 4, God saw that the light was good, and He separated the light from darkness. So, ito yung first day. And if we read on, mag-advance tayo, a few more verses, makikita natin dito, na ang sinasabi dito sa verse 15, pakibasa, let these lights in the sky shine down on the earth. And that is what happened. God made nakita niyo yung mystery? Sino nakakita ng mystery? Sino ang walang napansin? Parang normal lang. Kasi maraming beses niya na ito nabasa. Sino ang deadma lang? Okay, tingnan natin. Sino nakakita? Ano yung puzzling dito? Ano yung parang mali? Sino nakapansin? Wala. Sinong pinag-iisipan pa? Okay, bigyan ko kayo ng tip. Anong ginawa? This is day 4. Okay? This is day 4. Anong ginawa sa day 1? Light. Anong ginawa sa day 4? Ha? Gumawa siya ng sun, ng moon, ng stars. First day, light. Day 4, sun. Ano nakakapagtaka doon? Saan ang galing yung liwanag? Bakit ganun? First day, ginawa niya na yung liwanag, pero pagdating ng day 4, wala pa palang araw nun. Pero sa atin ngayon, di ba, pag dumidilim, ibig sabihin nun, wala na yung araw. Di ba, nasa kabilang side na siya ng mundo. So, para saan ang araw? Kung ganun pala, na hindi pala para sa liwanag ang araw. Para saan ang araw? Ha? If we read back one more verse, ang sabi dito sa verse 14, sabi niya, Then God said, Let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them be signs to mark the seasons, day, and year. And alam mo, nung narinig ko to, I was surprised, I was astounded, I was in awe, na grabe Lord, itong araw pala, talagang minarka mo yan, nilagay mo yan dyan, so that we will remember the seasons. Kaya yung topic ko sa inyo for today, yung title na ginamit ko, it's Embracing the Season. Because I want to specifically talk about the seasons in your life. And alam mo, kahit anong nangyari sa'yo, whether it be a happy season, probably you're in a season right now na medyo malungkot, either, wala, hirap ako sa pera ngayon delikado yung trabaho ko, or probably sabihin mo, ako, masaya-masaya ako, kasi last week, kakasagot lang sa akin nung nililigawan ko. You're in a season. And you know what? Etong sun, sinabi dito na, yun talaga yung purpose niya. So that you can remember all these season. Alam nyo, kung 10 years ago, kasi alam nyo, hindi pa ako katagalang Christian. I probably got to know the Lord about, ilang years ago? 9 years ago? 10 years ago? 10 years ago. Mahina yung mind ko pagdating dyan sa mga ano. So 10 years ago, that was when I got to know the Lord. And if you had asked me during that time, John, ano ang favorite season mo? Kunyari, tanungin niya yung katabi niyo, anong favorite age niya? Na kung pupwede lang na dun lang siya, papayag siya. Na sige, forever ako. Na dyan sa age na yan. Teka, number lang yun, ha? Baka kung ano na yung pinagkikwentuhan nyo dyan. Alam mo sa akin, isa sa paborito kong kanta yung ano. I don't know if you've heard of yung Forever Young. Yung Forever Young, I wanna be forever young. Do you really wanna live forever? That's one of my favorite songs ever. Siguro yung all time. It's because ever since, ayoko talagang tumanda. Kung 10 years ago, tinanong mo ako, ano yung pinaka-paborito mong edad? Sabihin ko sa inyo, easily, without a bat of an eyelash, sabihin ko noon, 16. Nung 16 ako, nasa high school ako noon, wala akong masyadong problema. Hindi ko problema kung saan ako kakain. Problema ng magulang ko yon. And feeling ko, since 16 ako, hindi ako pwedeng makulong kahit anong gawin ko. So, I was really naughty during those years. Pero ngayon, 45 years into the world, yun yung edad ko ngayon. Ngayon, naintindihan ko na mas maganda pala yung season kung nasan ako ngayon. And ever since I got to know the Lord, alam nyo, a lot of people, dahil because of their age, ang tingin nila, hindi na ako magkakaroon ng magandang career kasi matanda na ako eh. Yung iba nga sinasabi nila sa inyo, alam mo, pagka 60 years old ka na, it's already too late for you to learn something. Diba? Sinasabi na masyado ka na matanda, hindi ka na pwede magtayo ng negosyo, masyado ka nang matanda para dyan. And one of the things na natutunan ko is that if you are serving the Lord, hanggat nabubuhay ka, the best is always yet to come. You have yet to experience the prime of your life hanggat nabubuhay ka. Okay? And one of my favorite verse, Sabi niya dito, dun sa Ecclesiastes 3, sabi dito, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. And alam nyo, gusto kong simulan tong talk ko. Hindi pa, yung kanina, hindi pa simula yun. Ano pa lang yun? Appetizer. Nung 11 years old ako, gusto ko ikwento konting testimony sa akin. Nung 11 years old ako, nawala na yung tatay ko. So, makabilang bahay na siya. So, unknown to me, meron pala akong father wound na experience. Para sa akin dati, kasi lagi sila nag-aaway lang ng mom ko. So, when he left the house, para sa akin, good riddance. Buti na lang, kasi very traumatic sa akin every time na nakikita ko yung tatay ko na binubugbog niya yung mommy ko. Pero, subconsciously, and ewan ko dito kung meron ditong mga iniwan din ng magulang, subconsciously, hindi ko alam that I was blaming myself. Ang iniisip ko pala nun is, am I not good enough? Bakit? Hindi ba ako cute? Hindi ba ako, am I not brilliant enough? Is my dad not proud of me? How can that happen na sinasabi niya sa akin, mahal niya ako, and yet nagawa niya na iwanan ako. Nung una muna, every other day na lang siya umuwi. Mamaya every week, mamaya once a month, hanggang mamaya, hindi ko na siya makita. And for a long time, nawala na siya. So ang nangyari sa akin, yung sa buhay kong yon, it was all about proving myself na I am worth something. Okay? And right now, probably I'm speaking to some of you here na yung iba sa inyo, yun yung nagda-drive sa inyo eh. It is the desire na mapakita mo sa kanila, oy, magaling ako. I am worth something. Ganito yung sweldo ko. And siguro sa akin, nung time na yon, good or bad, I just wanted to be accepted. Gusto kong burahin yung pag-reject sa akin nung tatay ko na yon. So, wala akong pake, maganda man niya o maganda man or pangit, ang importante sa akin nun is makuha ko yung attention nila. So, I resorted to everything that was naughty, kasi yun yung tumatawag ng pansin. Doon nabibilib yung mga kaibigan ko sa akin, ng babae ako, and before graduating for elementary, I already had 7 girlfriends. Nung high school, I got myself kicked out every year. As in, from first year, nag-aaral ako sa Xavier School. Isang all-boys school yan. So, na-kick out ako. Napunta ako ng San Agustin. Pagdating ko ng Colegio de San Agustin, dyan sa Makati, 1 year lang, isang buong taon, hindi ako nagpagupit. Kahit na bawal sa kanila ang... May buhok ako dati. Okay? Mukhang yung iba sa inyo, mukhang nagulat eh. Na hindi ako nagpagupit. Oo. Siguro, isa sa mga side effects yun, dahil hindi ako nagpagupit. Ngayon, nawalan ako ng buhok. Okay? So, 1 whole year hindi ako nagpagupit, napasama ako sa fraternity. On my first day in class, nakipagrambulan agad ako doon sa isang fraternity doon. And I got kicked out after that. Kung makikita mo doon sa San Agustin, usually, pagka yung mga list of students na hindi pwedeng mag-enroll, nilalagay nila yun on alphabetical order. Pero nagulat ako, alphabetical lahat except ako, nasa number 1 ako noon. So, after nung San Agustin, so 1 year ako doon, nakika-out ako, napunta ako sa isang school, pangalan niya, Children's House on Montessori Lane. Ang cute, no? Pero hindi siya cute. Bagsakan siya ng mga kick-out. So, nandyan siya sa San Juan. Ang pagmamayari sa kanya, si Gabby Concepcion. And one of the things na natutunan ko doon is not only how to take drugs, but also how to sell drugs. So, doon sa loob ng school, doon ako naging unang entrepreneur kasi nakikout ako because of drug pushing. And nag-promise sa akin yung principal namin, nasabi niya sa akin, John, lumayas ka lang sa school na to, promise ko sa'yo, bibigyan kita ng honorable dismissal. So, I accepted the offer. Pumunta ako sa Roosevelt College. Ewan ko kung naabutan niyo pa yon. Alam niyo yan, Roosevelt? Kasi sarado na siya ngayon eh. And pagpunta ko doon, kausap ko yung principal, I gave my recommendation letter. Very, very proud pa ako. Kasi syempre, galing ako ng Xavier, so medyo Inglesero. Tapos nung binasa niya yung letter sa akin, sabi niya sa akin, John, I'm sorry. Hindi ka namin pwedeng tanggapin. Sabi ko, bakit? Sabi niya, we do not accept drug pushers here. Hindi pala niya ako binigyan ng honorable dismissal. So pagdating ko ng 4th year, nag-aral ako sa Arellano University, dyan sa May Legarda. And doon ko na-experience yung fraternity life. And doon sa first quarter pa lang, namulat ang aking mga mata doon sa reality na kung gaano ako kaloko nung high school ko, saan ko na dinala yung sarili ko. Well, anyway, that was life for me. Grabbing attention, hindi grabe grabbing attention, kahit anong magawa ko. I remember going to parties and discos every Friday and Saturday, rain or shine. And kaming mga magkakaibigan, tuwan-tuwa ako doon sa attention sa akin because we were the life of the party. Lagi kaming nagle-ledge ng mga kaibigan ko. And that was yung season na kung paano ako nagsimula. And I thought, dati, na ang life is all about that. It's about how much you earn. It's about ilang babae ang nakuha mo. And alam nyo, nag-decide din ako dati, sabi ko noon, kailan kaya ako magsasawa sa babae? And I decided to myself, sabi ko, you know what? Papakasalan ko ang 50th girlfriend ko. 50. And true enough, after college, doon ko na-meet ang aking 50th girlfriend and I married her. Simply because she was the 50th girlfriend. Hindi nagtagal, since wala pa si Christ doon sa buhay ko, after 1 year, sabi ko, bakit ganun? Nagpakasal na ako, pero parang hindi pa rin ako masaya. Siguro kulang dito, anak. So we decided, sige, magkaroon tayo ng baby. And after 3 months, nung pagkakaroon ng baby, sabi namin, ikaw ba masaya ka? Sabi niya, kasi alam nyo, banda rin ako dati. So doon kami nag-meet sa mga tugtugan. So sabi niya sa akin, hindi ako masaya. Sabi ko sa kanya, alam mo ako rin. Sige, mamaya, tutulungan kita, mag-alsabalutan, maghiwalay na tayo. And that was it. Hindi kami nag-away. Talagang matinong pag-uusap lang na maghihiwalay kami. And I thought before, because I was searching during that time, I thought na doon nakabase ang worth ng tao. Okay? So tuloy na natin muna tong sa akin. Ipapark ko muna yung kwento ko, mamaya itutuloy ko na lang siya. So ito yung mga tip ko dito sa inyo. Kanina, tinanong ko kung sino yung mga single dito. And ano ang tip ko dyan sa inyo? Ito ang kaisa-isang tip na gusto kong ibigay sa inyo. Don't rush. Take your time. Alam mo yung anak ko, tinatanong niya sa akin ngayon, sinasabi niya, kasi marami akong anak. Meron akong 19-year-old, meron akong 14, meron kaming 11, meron kaming 5, and we have a 4-year-old. And usually, alam niyo, pagdating ng yung 9-year-old namin na boy, every time we talk about dating, parang nandidiri pa siya. And siguro kayo, ganun din kayo dati. Kasi ako maaga ako nagsimula parang hindi ko maalala kung kailan yung time na nandiri ako. Pero sabi ko sa kanya, pangalan niya kasi si Matthew. Sabi ko sa kanya, alam mo Matthew, sa una lang yan na parang ganyan, but you have to face reality. It's okay to dream that someday I'm going to get married. Diba? And I don't know kung kailan nyo na-experience yung ganyan, no? Na medyo nagbago na, nung una kasi, diba, pagka prepare kayo, nagagalit ka pa, hindi, huwag nyo akong lokohin dyan, diba? Parang hindi ako mag-aasawa. And yung mga ibang anak ko nga, sinasabi pa sa akin, no, Daddy, I'm not going to leave you. Diba? Pero syempre, hindi ako naniniwala doon. I hope that someday they're also going to give me grandchildren. And ang sinabi ko sa kanya, Matthew, eto lang ang gusto kong malaman mo. When you start dating, meron ba dito nagde-date na? Never dated, meron ba? Okay. Remember, we're in the church. Okay. So, ito lang ang inano ko sa kanya, ito lang ang sinabi ko sa kanya. Don't ever date someone, or don't go out with someone you are not willing to you're not open to marrying. Okay? And i-define natin yung dating according to one play that I watched, yung play na They're Playing Our Song. Alam niyo yun? Yung kay Lea Salonga, doon niya na-meet yung kanyang asawa. Sabi doon, nung pinanood ko yung play na yun, sabi doon, dating daw is going out with someone with the purpose of getting to know that person so that you can know if you can take it to the next level or not. Okay? Yun ang definition ko ng dating. Pag sinabi ko, don't date someone, you are not open to marrying in the future. Diba? So for example, meron lang nagsabi sa inyo, uy, can I ask you out? Wala naman friendly date lang naman to. Lala lang, let's experiment, 'di ba? Parang tignan mo if there's chemistry, ganyan. So pagkakita mo pa lang sa kanya, parang ay nako, never ako magano sa kanya. Well, medyo umiwas ka na sa kanya. Ito yung tip number 2 ko sa inyo under this point na don't rush. If you are with Mr. for the meantime, then Mr. Right cannot come. Okay? Huwag kayong mahiyang i-tweet yun, ha? If you're with Mr. Meantime, Mr. Right cannot come. Diba? Kasi minsan tayo, ang inaano natin, we get so impatient. Wala, ang tagal-tagal na nanliligaw nito. Sabi niya, sige na nga, pagtsatsagaan ko to. You know what? If that is not God's best for you, hindi ko alam kung anong ginagawa mo kasama siya. Don't waste your time. Okay lang na magtiis ka, na ikaw muna mag-isa, pero at least you're reserving yourself for that right person. Because when Mr. Right comes, you will feel it. You will know. Diba? And normal yun na pagka first date, sometimes, ang taas ng feeling na akala mo talaga sa una, ito na yun, di ba? Parang ako dati, alam niyo yung 50 na yun, akala ko lahat sila na yun eh. Di ba? And every time na huwag niyo akong i-judge kasi nung time na to, hindi pa naman ako Christian nun. Sinasabi ko talaga sa mga kaibigan ko habang nagiinuman kami, pare, may bago akong girlfriend, ito na talaga siya. Okay? Pero, after a while, siguro ang average lifespan ng relationship sa akin, siguro it's about 2 weeks. Pero hindi ako nag-overlap. Okay? Meron naman akong, ano tawag mo sa ganun? Integrity. Diba? And I was really wrong about yung feeling ko. And para sa akin, ano magagawa ko? Nagsawa ako. Diba? Nawala yung feeling. And ako, kami ng wife ko, we counsel a lot of people, and you'd be surprised. May mga kina-counsel kami na iba mag-asawa na sila, lalapit sila sa'yo, ang dahilan nila kung ba't nila gusto maghiwalay is because, sabihin nila sa'yo, we're not happy. Parang yun lang ba yun? Because you're not happy, maghiwalay na kayo agad. Ito yung third thing I wanna tell you about dito sa not rushing. Kasi kaisa-isang tip ko lang yan sa mga singles di ba? Ito yung third na gusto ko sabihin sa inyo. Kung matagal ka nang nag-aantay at walang dumarating, siguro 35 ka na and no boyfriend since birth ka pa rin, and you've been reserving yourself, then probably it's time to ask yourself, have you been Miss Right? Or kung lalaki ka, have you been Mr. Right? Because sometimes, antay ka kay Mr. Right. Pero ang tanong doon, are you Miss Right? Because sometimes ang problema, pagka kunyari sa isang room, nagpunta ka, pag nakita mo sila, alam mo kung sino hindi pa nagkaka-boyfriend eh. Di ba? Kasi yung mga hindi pa nagkaka-boyfriend, di man lang nag-aayos ng sarili, talagang napaka-nerdy nila talagang tignan, di ba? Parang hindi man lang nag-aayos ng buhok. You know what? If you are waiting, if you are anticipating, if you are expecting God's best, and that is Mr. Right for you, then sana naman, i-prepare mo yung sarili mo by fixing yourself, di ba? Or yung iba namang kakilala ko, ang problema nila, nag-aantay sila, pero hindi naman sila lumalabas. Di ba? Ano gusto mo? Puntahan ka doon? Baka mamaya ang makakilala sa inyo, ang inaantay mo dyan, sila lang yung mga kasambahay mo sa bahay, di ba? Yun lang makakilala sa iyo dyan. But you can't meet Mr. Right if nagkukulong ka doon sa bahay mo. You have to also go out. And sometimes where you go is dependent on the type of person you meet. Meron akong kaibigan na sinabi niya, John, bakit ganyan? Every time na lang nagkakaroon ako ng boyfriend. Every time nagkakaroon ako ng boyfriend, I find out they're into drugs. Marami silang bisyo. Saan mo ba sila nami-meet? Yan, sa pool club. Diba? Sa bar. Where you meet them will tell you anong klaseng tao yan, di ba? Pagka kunyari, gusto niyo makamit ng mga Christians, saan sila dapat i-meet? Sa Tinder? Uy, tumawa, alam nila yon. Okay? Ako nga, hindi ko pa nakita yung Tinder, promise. Never ko siyang Pero di ba, like, yung Tinder para siyang dating app. Okay? For those people na hindi alam, please, wag niyo siyang i-load. Okay? Utang na loob, wag niyo siyang i-load sa phone niyo. Saan niyo sila dapat i-meet? Get into ministry, di ba? You'd probably meet Mr. Right there. Let people know that you're actually looking for a spiritual person, a godly person that who you want na i-lead kayo. Di ba? And when you get it out, then yun yung ma-attract mo na tao. And then, lastly, yung gusto kong sabihin dito, is tandaan nyo lang that God's time is different from man's time. Kasi probably, para sa inyo, ipipray kayo, Lord, 2 taon ko na itong pinagpipray, bakit hanggang ngayon hindi pa siya dumarating? Nakaka-4 na linggo na akong nagfa-fast. Pero hindi dire-diretso Nakaka-4 na linggo na ako na nagfa-fast twice a year. And hanggang ngayon, Lord, hindi mo pa rin siya sinasagot. Diba? And if you get impatient, sometimes ang kalalabasan yan, heartache lang para sa inyo. Sabi nga dito, hindi ko na siya mabasa dito, ang liit ng phone ko. Ignorant zeal is worthless. Haste makes waste. People ruin their lives by their own stupidity. So why does God always get blamed? Because sometimes, hindi naman ito yung binigay sa inyong tao, pero dahil nagmamadali ka, sinabi mo, sige na nga, pwede na yan. And I know a lot of Christians, and siguro dito may mako-convict kasi marami-rami kayo, na alam nyo na ever since, even yung discipler nyo, sinasabi sa inyo, if you wanna go out with someone, make sure that he is a Christian. And ang sabi nyo sa sarili nyo, okay lang to, sumasama naman sa akin sa church pero hindi siya Christian. Ako nang bahala sa kanya. Ako nang magko-convert sa kanya. Marami kayong kilalang ganyan, di ba? Aminin nyo. And, ang nangyari, kayo yung na-fall into sin. And then, sasabihin mo ngayon kay God, Lord, bakit kasi binigay mo sa akin tong lalaking to Di ba? That is what it says. So, next season. Yung mga iba dyan, na meron silang complicated relationship, isa lang din na mabibigay ko sa inyong tip. Kung makita nyo si Mario, meron siya kaakbay. Yung pala si Luigi, ka-holding hands din niya yung isa. Okay? If you are in a complicated relationship, ito yung suggestion ko sa inyo. Wait for clarity before proceeding. Yung mga ganyan, pag nasa komplikado kang relationship, like for example, kaming dalawa ni Monique. Alam niyo yung nangyari sa amin ni Monique? So, naghiwalay na kami nung wife ko. And several women after, kami ni Monique, I met her because we are competitors. Kasi ako, aside from shooting weddings, I also handle events. So ako yung every time, for example, may mga company launching, dealers night, kami yung nag-organize nun. And before, ang lakas-lakas ng aking benta, and then biglang humina. Nung malaman-laman ko, si Monique pala yung kalaban ko. And during that time, di pa kami magkakilala, so I tried to pirate her. Sabi ko sa kanya, aalokin ko to, double the salary para mapunta lang sa akin. Ayaw. Sabi nga nila, if you can't beat them, marry them. So, we started going out, and it was also in that season na, syempre, I was still married, and because we were both in sin, if you know what I mean, nagkaroon kami ng anak. And since I didn't have the Lord, nung nagkaroon kami ng anak, nahuli niya akong nagkaroon din ako ng iba pang mga chicks. So, nag-promise ako sa kanya that I would change. And nagkaroon kami ng pangalawang anak. So, eto yung aming 14 and yung 9-year-old. Huwag nyo nang i-notes. Okay. 11. Okay, 14 and 11. Sabi sa inyo, mahina ako sa mga dates. Okay? So, 14 and 11. So, after nung pangalawa naming anak, nahuli na naman niya ako. Pero this time, well documented. She caught me on video. And actually, during that time, pareho kami, we didn't have the Lord yet. Ang main difference namin nun was, nung siya nasaktan, it pushed her to the Lord. Dun siya nag-cling on. And so, nung naging Christian na siya, nakita ko sa kanya, sabi ko, ibang klase itong babaeng to. Ako yung nagloko, ako yung nakasakit sa kanya, pero parang siya yung mas masaya sa amin. Because remember, I could not find satisfaction kahit saan ako magpunta. Okay? And I was just looking for love kung saan-saan. And so sabi sa akin ni Monique, John, I will return to you. And I'm willing to forgive you if I see Jesus in your heart. And alam niyo ako, nanggaling ako sa Savior School. It's a Jesuit school. And lagi naming sinasabi doon, at the end of our prayer, live Jesus in our hearts. forever. Okay? And so sabi ko, Jesus in my heart, kasi kasama sa prayer ko yun eh. So that began my search. Doon ako naghanap-hanap. Okay? So, nung time na naghahanap-hanap kami, we decided, alam mo, mali itong ginagawa natin. We need to part ways. And during that time, ang daming nagtataka sa amin, na parang, ano ba naman kayo? Meron na kayong 2 anak, apektado sila sa ginagawa nyo. Dapat pag kayo, kumbaga, exempted na kayo dyan. Pero si Monique, she was very convicted. Nasabi niya, no, John, kailangan tong itama. So we decided to part ways. We parted for 4 years. Wala siyang clarity doon kung would we end up together. But because she had God in her, she was ready to give everything up. And so, kung kayo, katulad namin, nagkaroon kayo ng phase nyo na complicated, ang suggestion ko sa inyo is run to the exit as fast as you can. Okay? Proceed with caution, but for now, exit. Because it's the only way na makikita mo, tama ba itong ginagawa ko? Okay? Actually, wala akong ibang mabibigay na tip eh, kundi yan. Because if it's complicated, then it's wrong. Usually, mga babae, you're at the losing end. Diba? Like nga sabi nga nila, diba? Pagka sinabi mong mutual understanding, ibig sabihin nun, merong benefits, pero walang commitment. And ewan ko kung narinig nyo na recently, dun sa generation ngayon, meron ba ditong mga 21 years old and below? Na meron na raw term ngayon, di ba? Yung momo. Hindi. Momol. Alam niyo yun? Sino hindi alam? Momol. Ikaw hindi mo alam. Narinig ko, may term na pala sila ngayon na momol. Ibig sabihin daw nun, make out lang. Di ba? And para sa akin, why will you agree to that? Di ba? Why will you agree to that? Ito naman yung tip ko. Para sa mga kasal na or yung mga ikakasal pa lang. Ang best advice ko sa inyo, marami actually kayo marinig, especially pa nag-a-attend kayo ng wedding. So ako, every time nag-shoot ako ng wedding, narinig ko, iba-ibang klaseng advices for the couples. But the number 1 advice is to really to have Christ in your marriage. Because ako naniniwala, pag eto lang isang to ang sinunod nyo, then everything else will follow. So kung kayo, kasal na kayo, I want you to listen because I want to break it down. Ito yung Christ in the center of your marriage. I made an acronym for that. Kung sakali mang hindi pa kayo kasal, then I suggest you still listen because you are going to pick up some nuggets of gold here that can probably save you from future heartaches. So ano bang ibig sabihin pag sinabi mong have Christ in the center of your marriage? So una dyan, yung C is napaka-importante ng communication. Doon sa amin, sa ka-counsel namin ni Monique, may mga times na pag pinapakinggan namin yung dalawa pa nag-aaway sila, they're not really listening to each other. And I remember just the other day, I had to step in and talk to them and tell them, ikaw ba, pagka kunyari nakikipag-usap ka, are you there because you want to prove your point? Or is it because you want to listen to the other person? And alam nyo, may isang rule sa communication and you can write this down. Communication is not what is said, but what is understood by the other person. So pagka ikaw, dalawa kayo nag-aaway kayo, and meron kang sinabi mo ganito, and then iba ang pagkakarinig niya, tandaan mo, mas importante kung paano niyang ni-receive yun. That's what communication is all about. Okay? Gets niyo yan? So H, ito napaka-importante nito. You know, if you have Christ in the center of your marriage, napaka-importante na alam mo, yung H doon is you have to put hedges. Ano ibig sabihin ng hedges? Hedges are like obstacles that make it difficult for you to commit sin. And alam mo sa amin ni Monique, yung time nga yun, di ba, nakadalawang strike na ako, naghiwalay kami. And we talked about it. So what are the things that hindi enough yung sabihin ko lang sa kanya na, tumanggap na ako, nabaptize na ako. So hindi ba enough na yon? Sabi namin, no, we need to create hedges. So like, ano-ano yung mga hedges na kinreate namin? Like, alam niya yung password ko sa phone. Anytime, pwede niyang tignan. Alam niya yung passwords ko sa email. I'm open to it. She knows the password to my laptop. Yung sweldo ko, sa kanya na dumediretso. Pero akin yung credit card. Tapos, credit card ko, siya nagbabayad. Kasi sa kanya napupunta yung sweldo, anong pambabayad ko doon, di ba? So, but ang importante doon, at least nakikita niya yung, ano yung mga things na pinagkakagastosan. And so, pwede niya ang questionin, ano itong binili mo dito? Di ba? Kasi if you don't have dating money, then it's a hedge for you. Yung mga things like that, kailangan kayong mag-agree na these are the things. So for example, if you're working, ano yung mga rules niyo pagdating sa office? Bawal maghatid ng opposite sex, kahit sabi mong gabi na, kaya hinatid ko siya. Di ba? Naawa ko, baka mamaya ma-hold up, delikado raw sa kanila eh. And meron akong alam na Christian siya, pero nag-fall siya, because okay lang sa kanya na mag-travel out sila ng office mate niya. And sometimes they would even stay in one room. Sasabihin niya, hindi kasi nagtitipid kasi yung company. Di ba? And I don't think yung savings na nakuha mo dyan would be worth it. Di ba? So that is what I mean when you say hedges. This is one of the verse na nakatulong sa akin. Kasi alam nyo, ang hirap talagang, yung sexual temptation is one of the sins na napakahirap i-overcome. Tawag ko nga dyan, it's like a Pandora's box na once i-open mo siya, ang hirap niyang isara. Because nakatikim ka na nung parang kumbaga kay Adam, his eyes were already opened. Are you following? So this is one of the verse na nakatulong sa akin. If we can all just read it. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And pakilakas nga natin. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. And if you will notice, I placed there a picture of, ano tawag mo dyan sa, That's called a sinkhole. It's a sinkhole. And yung iba, niloloko nga nila yan. Sabi nila, itong mga sinkholes daw na yan, it's the entrance to hell. Pero hindi totoo yun. Hindi totoo yun. Actually, naaaliw ako sa sinkhole. Kasi, minsan makikita mo, patag na patag. Tapos, minsan, it's a highway. Bigla na lang katulad ito. It's an intersection. Karamihan ng mga sinkhole, makikita nyo sa Florida. Na bigla na lang magkakaroon ng butas. And people are in awe. Kasi pag tinitignan nila, usually sobrang lalim niya, it's a bottomless pit daw. And I tried to research, paano ba nangyayari sa mga sinkhole? So kung titignan nyo yan, ito daw yung nangyayari sa kanya, na dun sa ilalim, yung water daw, nagsisip in, ang tawag nila doon, nagpa-percolate. Ibig sabihin yung moisture, nagpe-penetrate siya sa baba. So nagke-create siya ng butas. So eventually, pagka tuloy-tuloy daw yan na pumupunta ron, makita mo, nagkakaroon ng hole sa ilalim. Eventually, yung foundation nung surface na yon would give in, and then it will cause the sinkhole. And I saw that this analogy is actually perfect for the verse that I just gave you, because sometimes hindi natin alam na meron tayong mga sins na sinasabi natin sa sarili natin. Okay lang to. It's within control. Hindi naman nakikita ng mga tao eh. Some of us here, we live secret lives. Some of us here, ano yung mga yon? Probably sa internet, meron kang tinitignan dyan, or probably it's a vice that you have that no one knows. Siguro meron kang either gambling problem, or yung isip mo masyadong mabilis para sa'yo, or meron kang temper problem, and sinasabi mo lagi sila mo, okay, I don't have to deal with it. Kasi hindi pa naman siya sumasabog eh. Time and time again, even pagdating sa mga pastors, minsan mababalitaan nyo, di ba? Nagkakaroon ng mga, if you read yung internet, makikita niyo doon stories after stories of godly people who actually fall. Bakit? Because meron silang sin na maliit na hindi nila in-address. And later on, it just creates a sinkhole. So, dun sa verse na binasa natin kanina, ano yung mga things na mapupulot natin? Number 1 dyan is don't be overconfident. Yung sabi niya dun sa verse 12, if you think you are standing firm, be careful that you don't fall. Ibig sabihin nun, alam nyo, yung time na ang pagkakaalam nyo sa sarili nyo is napaka-spiritually strong niya, napaka-spiritually strong nyo, and sabi mo, okay lang yan. I think I can drink with this girl na kami lang kasi meron siyang problema and kailangan niya ng advice. And alam niya, ako ay isang taong nagbabasa ng Bible kaya ako yung nilapitan niya. Or alam naman niya na may asawa ako so it's okay. Yung mga times na very confident kayo, those are the times that you are actually at your weakest state. Okay? So don't be overconfident. Point number 2, sabi nga dyan, you are not alone. Okay? Alam niyo nung time na hulog ako doon sa time na yun. Kasi alam niyo yung second na huli sa akin, nabuntis siya. Okay? Nabuntis siya. And so sabi niya sa akin, pagka daw hindi ko siya kakasamahin, hindi raw ako magbibigay sa kanya ng support, susumbong daw niya ako kay Monique. And so I was imprisoned during that time. And sabi ko noon, I have a very unique problem. So, Lord, I don't think kaya mo itong isolve because this is a special case. So, ang ginawa ko, I put it on my hands na sabi ko, sige, ako nang bahala dito, ako nang gagawa ng paraan. So, nung pinanganak yung bata, ako nagbayad dun sa hospital. Every time the girl would call, sabi niya, oy, kailangan pambili ng gatas. O sige, 5,000, 10,000. Basta promise mo, huwag ka lang maingay. So, finally, nung time na nag-propose ako kay Monique, because I already got my annulment, and yung discipler namin, sabi niya, o sige, kung meron kang kailangang aminin mo na. And so I told Monique, sabi ko, Han, kailangan ko aminin sa'yo, meron akong anak. And so, sa kanya sinabi sa akin, sabi niya, John, kung talagang anak mo yan, let's support it. Kung gusto mo, from time to time, dalhin mo dito, magpakita ka, paramdam ka na ikaw yung ama. It's not fair for the kid na mawalan siya ng ama. And I was really so blessed by what she said. Pero sabi ko sa kanya, so paano ko malalaman na anak ko talaga yun? Sabi niya, pa-DNA test ka. So I asked the girl, sabi ko sa kanya, if it's okay with you, because yung fiancé ko is actually wanting to make sure na anak ko yan, kung okay lang sa'yo, pa-DNA test namin. And sabi nung girl, oh sure, sige, pa-DNA test mo. Grabe naman kayo, nagda-doubt ka pa. Okay? So 2 weeks before our wedding, the results came out. Hindi ko siya anak. 6 years old na yung bata during that time. And all along, I was enslaved because I thought I had a special, unique problem. Hindi ko alam that all it needed was for me to come out of the darkness and actually admit, I have a sin. Okay? And it doesn't have to be sexual, by the way. Pwedeng kung anumang kasalanan nyo na tinatago niya na akala nyo, hindi na ako mapapatawad ng tao kasi Christian na ako nung time na ginawa ko yan eh. It's the devil that's keeping you imprisoned in that sin. All you need to do is just come out of the light. And alam mo, kanina lang I was texting one of my employees and I was telling her, you know what? Pagka iniisip mo na hindi ka na mapapatawad ng Panginoon, then yung love niya para sa'yo, minamaliit mo. You don't understand how powerful God is until you know that He has forgiven you past, present, and future sins. Yung mga kasalanan gagawin nyo, even as a Christian, even as sabihin nyo, paano yan? Pag ako ba gumawa ng kasalanan, do I lose my salvation? No, you don't. You don't. Just as yung sins, just as pinatawad niya na yung past, alam niya kung ano pa yung mga gagawin nyo. So, wag niyong isipin that you are in a unique position. During that time, especially pagka kunyari mag-isa ka sa kwarto, sabihin mo, wala na akong choice. I'm in a really special, she's just too beautiful for me. Di ba? It's not unique. Ano pa yung sinasabi niya dito? Sabi niya dyan, God is faithful, He will not let you, tahimik na tayo. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. So sabi dito sa point number 3 ko, God only allows you to the point of your capacity. Every time you have a trial, you're facing a trial. Sabi mo, paano yan? Talagang walang-wala na ako eh. Tanggapin ko na itong trabahong to kahit alam ko hindi ito yung gusto ni God na makuha ko kasi this work is not God-honoring. Or this guy, alam ko, tuto lang magulang ko dito eh. Tuto lang magulang ko sa kanya. So, I don't know how it can honor the Lord. If hinayaan ka ni God na ma-face mo tong challenge na to, it means God knows that you can bear it. God knows that you can do it. And then lastly, sabi niya dito, there's always an escape. Sabi niya dyan sa taas, but when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. So that's communicate, have accountability. The R is roles and duties. And lalo na pagdating sa mga Chinese katulad ko, very common sa amin ang mga dragon ladies and yung mga matriarchal, na yung mga babae nag-rule ng family. So, importante na pagkakunyari kayo, especially since this is a mostly female-dominated audience, one of the biggest things na hindi ma-accept ng ibang mga babae is yung nilagay doon sa Bible na wives, submit yourselves to your husband in what? In all things or in everything. And usually, ito yung struggle ng mga babae na sasabihin nila, but he's not a godly man. He's not mahina ang leadership niya. He's incapable. Di ba? And ang sagot lang doon is, so what? Doesn't make any difference. The only time you will disobey your husband is if he's telling you to do something which is contrary to the Word of God. Okay, parang daming nakangiti dito. Mukhang, and know your duties. Know your duties. So, kanina nabanggit ni Jobert that he attended actually yung before and after I do. We actually have it twice a year. So, it's every April and November. And doon, tinuturo namin yung roles and yung mga duties ng husband and wife. So, since tahimik na kayo, medyo bibilisan ko ng konti. The I is actually a small I. And you know what? Some people get into the marriage thinking, what am I going to get out of this? Alam nyo, pagka kunyari, if it's a Christ-centered marriage, dapat yung I nyo sa sarili nyo, dun sa marriage, maliit lang na I. Kaya small I yung pinalagay ko dyan. It's because sometimes, pagka capital I yan, ang sinasabi mo lagi doon, I. It's all about you. Okay? And tell me kung totoo to, ang sabi nila, marriage is give and take. Tama ba yun? Sino sabi tama? Marriage is give and take. Sino sabing mali? Hindi give and take ang marriage. Sinong ayaw lang talaga magtaas ng kamay? Sinong tatakot magkamali? Marriage is not give and take. Marriage is giving even when the other person cannot give anymore. So kung sinabi nila na, alam mo ang marriage, dapat yan 50-50. Di ba? 50-50 yan. Hindi totoo yun. Marriage is giving 100%. Even if ang binibigay lang sa'yo, 1%. Kasi kung ganyan lang lagi, magbibilangan lang kayo magbibilangan, then your marriage is bound for disaster. S means surrendered lives. Pagka Christ is in the center of the marriage, importante na kayong dalawa mismo, surrendered ang buhay nyo kay Kristo. And I'd like to show you guys a short video, 1 minute lang to, ng example kung paano ang surrendered lives. Okay.
I have decided to give you this.
Really?
Yeah. You know whoever sits here makes all the decisions, right?
I know, and I'm always making decisions, but you make the perfect decisions. So you just sit right down and start making them.
Wow, I'm honored. I mean, this feels great.
Kathleen, guess what? I just got my new credit card. It's time to go shopping. Oh, really? I thought your husband and you were going to pay off debt. Oh, yeah. I mean, money's kind of tight, but I figured he doesn't have to know about it. So do you want to go with me?
No.
No? Why? What I mean is, I don't know. So let me check my schedule, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, yeah, give me a call. Okay.
Kat, what's going on?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm kind of one-cheeking it here. Look, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. You wanted me to sit here, right?
Well, of course.
And whoever sits here makes all the decisions?
Right.
So what's the problem?
There's not a problem. I don't know what I was thinking. Really, please, here, sit down.
As long as you're sure.
I'm sure.
Okay, so let's start over.
Okay.
All right. Kat, I noticed that you've been losing your temper a lot lately.
Right.
So-
Okay, Jesus, you know what? I know what you're going to say, but, see,
You do?
you don't know the whole situation, you know?
Oh, well, all I'm saying is that your attitude is a decision.
Yes, of course, but I have a lot going on right now.
Well, I know you're under a lot of pressure.
Pressure? Jesus, you don't understand pressure, okay?
This isn't working, Kat.
What?
We can't both sit on the seat. It's either me or it's you.
Okay, I know. You know, I didn't think it was going to be this hard, but here, just take it.
No, I'm not going to take it. You have to give it to me.
Okay, here.
Kathleen, make a choice.
I can't.
You just did.
Ganda nung ending, no? Diba? Make a choice. And nung sinabi niya, I can't, not deciding is a decision in itself. Diba? And sabi nga nila, if the Lord is not Lord of all, He is not Lord at all. And sometimes tayo, we want to give God everything except one part. Sabi na, sige Lord, sa'yo lahat except yung finances. O Lord, sa'yo lahat except yung obedience ko sa asawa ko. Diba? Sometimes we try to compromise. So yung last, is about teaching your children about Jesus. And I actually wanted to talk about yung legacy mo. Kasi kahapon kaka-preach ko lang about yung death ni David on how he passed it on to Solomon. And sabi nga dito sa, I'm almost done. Sabi nga dito sa Deuteronomy 6 verse 5 to 7, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're at the road, when you're going to bed, and when you're getting up. Alam nyo, eventually, pagka ang season nyo ngayon is newly married kayo, it won't be long. Ang magiging season nyo is you're going to be raising up kids. And dapat kasama dun sa planning nyo na yon, if truly Christ is in the center of that marriage, that yung joy na nakuha nyo because you discovered who the Lord is, that you also want to introduce Jesus to your kids. And kung mababasa nyo dito, hindi dyan nakasulat, kininong responsibility na magturo sa mga anak about the Lord? Parents. It's the parents. It's not the Sunday school teacher. It's not hindi yan yung school ang magtuturo sa kanila. It's really it's your responsibility. And I want to tell you that you can only give what you have. You can only give what you have. So, as an ending, whatever season you may be in, single or married, you can look at it in the perspective of God's blessing. Kung sakaling single ka and looking, at naiinip ka na, sabihin mo, bakit ganito? Ang tagal naman. Then I suggest you talk to a married friend who spends her nights crying over a drunkard husband. Kung sakali namang ikaw, married ka, and hindi ka masaya sa marriage mo, Then tignan mo na lang yung mga kaibigan mo na napipilitan silang manood ng sine mag-isa kasi wala silang makasama, or yung mga taong very sad sila na alone sila, na nag-spend sila ng Pasko na malamig. And dito nga sabi nga ni Paul, sabi niya dyan, I wish everyone was single, just as I am. Mayabang pa siya di ba? Sabi niya, sana lahat kayo single katulad ko. Yet each person has a special gift from God of one kind or another. So I say to those who aren't married and to widows, it's better to stay unmarried just as I am. But if they cannot control themselves, they should go ahead and marry. It's better to marry than to burn with lust. But for those who are married, I have a command that comes not from me, but from the Lord. A wife must not leave her husband. So basically, ang sinasabi lang dito ni Paul is, you know what? It doesn't matter what season you're in. Kung single ka or kung married ka. There's always blessing in any of those seasons. But ang pinaka-importante sa atin is whatever season you're in, is you be content and try to look at yung blessing in each of the season. So, thank you very much. And by the way, I'd like to promote, kami ni Monique, we write our blog dito sa An Ounce of Faith. And lahat ng mga experiences namin, actually ang tawag namin dito, ito yung love letter namin sa mga anak namin, that what we want to tell them eventually, kung sakaling kunin na kami ni Lord. So thank you so much.